Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a truly extraordinary case study from a fascinating esoteric text. We're stepping into a wild, sweeping narrative, one that literally blends ancient cosmology, genetic manipulation, historical folklore, and, believe it or not, modern-day surveillance. Whether you approach this as profound spiritual history or just a compelling piece of sci-fi lore, you've got to admit the structure of this story is incredibly detailed and it spans eons of time.
The source material we're looking at today is a book called Soul Readings of Space People. According to this text, certain individuals actually possess a continuous consciousness. We're talking about a soul memory that spans across completely different lifetimes and even different planets. So today, we're tracking the soul reading of an individual known simply as Subject A, uncovering a hidden cosmic history that kind of flips what we know about human origins right on its head.
To make sense of this expansive timeline, we're going to structure this explainer chronologically. Section 1 covers Venusian origins. Section 2 is the UFO abduction. Section 3 brings us to the Edo period Tengu boy. And Section 4 wraps up with present-day surveillance.
Okay, Section 1, Venusian origins of Subject A.
Let's start at the absolute beginning of this soul's journey. According to the text, Subject A's story didn't start anywhere near Earth. Nope, it began eons ago on the harsh, unforgiving surface of Venus. The text describes an environment of just unimaginably high temperatures and vast, swirling acidic oceans. Obviously, that is a hostile, terrifying environment for us humans, but consider Subject A's original biological form. Their soul memory reveals they were this massive, 3-meter-tall amphibian entity. Picture something closely resembling a giant warty toad. They had this incredibly thick, tough skin, which was actually a highly evolved biological necessity just to withstand the extreme heat in those corrosive Venusian waters.
Moving on to Section 2, UFO abduction and genetic adaptation.
Now, what makes this narrative so fascinating is the sudden, quite violent transition. Subject A doesn't just peacefully pack up and migrate from Venus to Earth. Instead, the soul reading outlines a very precise, multi-step intervention. Step 1 is a forcible abduction by a UFO. Then, Step 2 introduces a rigorous laboratory process where Subject A's biology is subjected to advanced cloning experiments. And Step 3 shows us the ultimate goal of all this, which is selective breeding. Basically, the extraterrestrials operating this UFO were actively, intentionally mutating Subject A's Venusian biology. The goal was to force an adaptation to Earth's completely different atmosphere and gravity. It's almost like a giant cosmic science experiment.
Which leads us to Section 3. The Edo period Tengu boy.
This brings us to what's really the narrative climax of the text. Just look at how vast this timeline is. We start eons ago on Venus. Then we move into this totally indeterminate amount of time spent inside a UFO laboratory, undergoing all those genetic changes. And finally, we arrive at the drop-off. The culmination of these forced experiments resulted in Subject A being deposited right here on Earth, specifically in Japan, right in the middle of the Edo period, so we're talking anywhere from the early 17th to the late 19th century. This is where the source just brilliantly connects these overarching sci-fi concepts to localized human history. You see, despite the selective breeding, Subject A still retained some lingering alien traits. Now, when the local Japanese populace encountered this being, they obviously didn't have the vocabulary for extraterrestrial. They didn't know what an alien was. Instead, they relied on their own cultural framework. So they historically recorded Subject A as a Tengu, a legendary creature from Japanese folklore known for its unusual, non-human physical characteristics. According to this text, the famous Tengu boy of historical record was actually our highly adapted Venusian. Crazy, right? Finally, we reach Section 4. Present-day alien surveillance. Because, as you might have guessed, the story doesn't end in the Edo period. The text claims this cosmic experiment actually has some really eerie, lingering consequences that stretch right into our modern era. Today, Subject A exists in a modern human body, but they aren't entirely free. The text says advanced monitoring devices are purportedly still implanted within their physical form. And the purposes for these implants are super comprehensive: physiological tracking, location monitoring, and ongoing behavioral observation. Meaning those exact same extraterrestrial observers who conducted the UFO cloning experiments eons ago, they're actively gathering data on Subject A right now. As we wrap up this explainer and conclude our journey through the bizarre, expansive lore of Subject A's soul reading, it really leaves us with a provocative thought to ponder. If we take the premise of this esoteric text seriously, that unseen observation and ancient genetic histories are hiding right beneath the surface of seemingly normal people,
it begs a pretty massive question. If Subject A is currently walking around with a hidden cosmic history and active monitoring implants, well, who else might be? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes open.